page and our live stream. Of course, today is the 26th day of August 2020. Welcome back down that pecan tree lined lane through the screen door into Down on the Farm Radio's kitchen table. I'm your host, Larry Marble. We're going to talk about the things that we see affecting agriculture today. Let's take a look at ag weather across our Down on the Farm Radio region. You know, we have affiliate stations from Abilene all the way down to Corpus Christi. In Abilene today, virtually no clouds, 96 the high, 72 the low, no chance of rain. Their wind speeds pretty much 8 or 9 mile an hour, and it's coming out of the east. Let's drop down to Mason, where we have a great affiliate. Let's take a look and see what the weather around Ken Jordan's country is up there. Virtually no clouds, lots of sun, 96 the high, 72 the low, no chance of rain. Their winds also about 9 mile an hour out of the east. Let's drop down and see what's going on over toward, let's say the Giddings area, where we've got a great affiliate station. Pretty much same song, third verse. No clouds, lots of sun, 96 and 72. Winds, again, out of the east, say 8 to 9 mile an hour. And finally, let's drop down to Corpus Christi, right near where I live in Fulton. We're expected to see some scattered showers because the curvature of that storm is going to throw some scattered showers down the coast. In fact, we have a 60% chance of moisture, only 6 or 7 points, 95 the high, 77 the low, and our winds, as you can expect, out of the northeast, say 10 to 12 mile an hour. Neighbor, there is your ag weather across Down on the Farm's radio region. Neighbor, we'll reserve our commodity futures for later in today's program, so y'all stay tuned. Now we'll give you a broad overview of what things are looking like as the day begins to ramp up. In corn, prices are softer overnight, but mostly holding the gains from Tuesday and keeping directional scales pointed higher. Tuesday's strength came back off a lower than expected crop rating. Additionally, corn purchases by China and a managed fund crowd, which appears eager to liquidate bullish exposure, affected the sales. In soybeans, higher trade across the soy complex as November beans post follow-through buying from Tuesday's impressive session. After a brief correction in mid-August, soybeans have resumed their upward trend, hitting the highest price overnight since, looking back on the calendar, March the 4th. In wheat, lower prices overnight at all three wheat exchanges after early gains were relinquished in Chicago and Kansas City. Wheat futures have witnessed a volatile week of trade so far, with heavy sell pressure Monday, followed by heavy buying Tuesday, as support stemmed from corn and beans. The overall uptrend has been maintained, with Tuesday seeing the highest trade for December Kansas City wheat since July the 24th. Cash traders noted rumors that 2 to 3 cargoes of wheat trading off the Pacific Northwest went to China on Tuesday, or began their trip. As we look toward cotton, we see that, amazingly, the December market has rallied back some 1,600 points of its 2,000-point fall as measured by the December 31st, 2019 statement. In watching how certain stock markets, such as the S&P and the NASDAQ, fully recover from COVID, cotton may be pondering a like-minded move itself. However, it will take less production and more demand to see that happen. A portion of that demand puzzle may show in tomorrow's weekly export sales data.
We're visiting with Scott Stanislav, technical agronomist for DeKalb, Asgrow, and Delta Pine. And Scott, you and I have been talking about crop conditions and issues here in South Texas all season long, and there definitely has not been a lack of things to talk about this year.
No, there has not. It's been a busy year, and we've had some weather events that have hurt some things. We've had some really good crops in some areas. It's been all over the board.
Well, Scott, this is our last update, so remind growers where they can go to find more information on DeKalb, Asgrow, and Delta Pine.
Absolutely. Well, I'd point a grower to www.DeKalbAsgroDeltaPine.com. There they can find product information, yield information as well as going to YouTube and looking at DeKalb Asgrow Delta Pine, East Texas and Oklahoma. That's our YouTube channel, and hopefully we'll be posting some updates there. And I really just want to thank everybody for their support of the DeKalb Asgrow and Delta Pine brands.
Scott Stanislav, technical agronomist for DeKalb, Asgrow, and Delta Pine here in South Texas.
Neighbor, now let's move toward the direction of cash cattle and feeder cattle. Cash cattle still remain light Wednesday morning following limited cash trade seen over the last couple of days in the South. Although not enough cattle have traded to establish a good market trend, prices seem to be generally steady to weak from last week so far. Trade over the last couple of days has developed at 104 to 107 by the hundredweight on the hoof in the pen. Looks like that is about, let's say $1 lower on average in the South from last week. Northern trade still remains quiet and may be done late week. The ability of box beef values to continue to climb higher ahead of the Labor Day holiday continues to pressure the market. Surrounding that cattle on feed report, traders continue to separate near-term and long-term trade as the increased placement levels seen in Friday's report have little immediate impact on fall cattle supplies and short-term moves in the price levels. But this does cloud the outlook for cattle coming into the market for the first quarter of 2021. Until boxed beef prices gains start cooling down, it is likely that live cattle futures will hold near the top end of recent trading ranges, with October futures hovering between that 105 and 110 by the hundredweight over the near future. Lean hog futures have benefited from the most recent pressure in cattle, which has obviously been ignoring the lean hog complex. September and October contracts have moved well above that $55 per hundredweight level. Neighbor, when you hear sheep and goats on a Wednesday, it's time to talk to Benny Cox from Producers in Cargyle, San Angelo. Benny, you had a good number for sheep and goats this week. Not as big as last week, but pretty big still, right?
We didn't have but 65.82. That sounds like a lot to a lot of people. That's a whole lot less than 9,000, let me tell you. We saw these wool lambs improve a little bit, kind of firm to $10 higher, and most of that improvement would be on those bigger ones that were hit so hard last week. The 70, 80 pounders or 50, 60 to 80 pounders were a lot the same. On these slaughter hair lambs, they were 10 to 15 higher. Some of those really neat 50, 55 pounders might even been a little higher than that. They were pretty zippy yesterday. We've seen a good many of those bring well over 230, some up to as high as 258 actually. Anyway, these slaughter ewes, they were a little softer. We had quite a few of those. They were kind of weak to $5 higher is the way I seen that. Kid goats kind of 5 to 10 higher. The slaughter nannies might have been a little better. They bring from $1 all the way up to $1.70. That 75. That was a crazy figure, but most of them bring from 115 to 140. Mature billies from 160 to 218. Looking at those wool lambs that we did see, some of those larger ones brought down as low as 120. Some of the real lightweights all the way up to 230. Slaughter lambs, the light end of those from 180 to 258. Heavier weights from 140 to 218. And last week, I believe that heavier weight end kind of about 188 or 6 is where they fell. Looking at the slaughter ewes, kind of 50 to 80. Kid goats sold in a range from $2 all the way up to $3.16, but mostly $2.60 to $2.85.
Good. Now, how are we progressing with the cattle sale?
Yesterday, we got 150 of those Angus cows. A bunch of them have 6 and 7 year brands on them, so they're a younger set of cows. They come from the McCoy Remy Ranch out in West Texas, and they've been in Angus business a long time. Right. Those cattle are really good flesh. 150 of those, and there's 50 mostly black coming 2-year-olds that are bred to black heifer bulls in another group. It's drying hard enough. We liable to see way on the north side of 1,000 again this week, is the way it looks.
Well, we'll be looking for it on Thursday. Benny Cox, Producers in Cargyle, sheep and goats Tuesday, cattle on Thursday. Tell everybody how to contact you.
My mobile is 325-234-4277. Office, same area code, 653-3371. Or they can always look at the web, which is producersandcargyle.com.
McCoys.com, McCoys Building Supply, still family owned, strong, growing, and relevant for our ag community. Farm and ranch panels and gates, field fencing, welded wire panels, barbed wire and electric fencing. Shop online and find products and the store near you at McCoys.com. Neighbor, when you hear cattle in the alleyway on a Wednesday, it's time to talk to Henry Pickett from Abilene Livestock. Henry had a good sale yesterday in Abilene. Henry, you're still shipping them out. How did they sell?
It was really good, had lots of demand. We had about 980 cattle with about 200 cows. Yearlings were 2 to 3 lower due to the board being down on the on-feed report, and light calves, steers and heifers both were steady to $2 higher, had lots of demand for them.
Good. Were you pleased with the quality of the livestock that come through?
Oh, yeah, we had several wean deals and the quality was really good, and they showed, that the wean cattle and the quality, they bring a top dollar.
Good. Now, when is your first special that you're going to have?
It'll be October 20th.
All right, that'll be here before we know it. Do you know of anything for next week?
We've had a few calls, just smaller deals here and there, 20 head here, and then we've got one deal potentially of 150 ranch calves coming. Just depends on the weather. Hopefully it'll rain us out.
Yeah, hopefully. Nothing better than the rain and a baby calf and the sound of it on the tin roof of an auction barn. Henry, tell everybody how to get a hold of you.
Here at the sale barn, we can be reached at 325-673-7865. My cell number is 940-733-8208.
Hey, neighbor, here's a quick reminder from my friends at McCoy's. Western red cedar can be used in a variety of applications from siding to decking, even as indoor paneling. For folks ready to tackle a DIY project, red cedar is a great choice for decks and play sets, particularly because of its naturally occurring thermal properties which keep the wood cooler to the touch. That's no small feat on a summer day in the McCoys States of America. Check out the building plans and videos at McCoys.com and get started on your next DIY project using Western red cedar. Available at McCoy's Building Centers. Go to McCoys.com for information. Find the McCoy's store near you. Neighbor, I know y'all are getting hungry. Hop sings a little late with lunch today, but that's okay. Chicken fried steak, jalapeno gravy, plenty of Nanny's yeast rolls, and a cold cucumber salad, glass of iced tea, soda water, cup of coffee, whichever you prefer. We just prefer Doug Bass slow down from working cattle a bit and talk to us about the sale they had at Brenham on Friday. Doug, how did it go?
We had a good sale, Mr. Larry. We ended up with 1,481 head of cattle. Market sure looked strong. I believe the calf market on the lighter end of the calves looked a little stronger. Everything else looked steady, to maybe a tad bit higher. Yes, sir, on your weigh-in cows, your thinner, lower yielding cows bring 35 to 50. Better high yielding cows bring 52 to 69. Packer bulls, thinner, lower yielding bulls bring 62 to 76. Better high yielding bulls bring 78 to 90. Bred cows, on your bred cows, they bring anywhere from 550 to 1250. Pairs bring anywhere from 800 to 1500. And on the calf market, like I said, I think the lighter calves are getting a little higher. It looks like to me. Your roping calves, 1 to 2 weight ropers bring 155 to 227. On steers, heifers bring 140 to 215. 2 to 3 weight steers bring 135 to 210. Heifers bring 120 to $2. 3 to 4 weight steers bring 120 to 197. Heifers bring 110 to 205. 4 to 5 weight steers bring 115 to 184. Heifers bring 105 to 152. 5 to 6 weight steers bring 110 to 146. Heifers bring 103 to 162. 6 to 7 weight steers bring $1 to $1.38. Heifers bring $1 to $1.50. 7 to 8 weight steers bring 90 to 135. Heifers bring 82 to 122. And your heiferettes bring 77 to $1.
Now, how is the storm that will be to your east going to affect y'all this weekend?
I think we might get a little rain out of it. I hope we get a little rain out of it. We could use it. Other than that, I don't think it's going to do much to us around here. I've got a lot of good friends in southern Louisiana that they're scrambling.
Right.
They're going to have a hard time. In fact, we got one man that he sent us 62 cows, and I think there's 19 calves on them from down there. He just sold them out. We're going to sell them this Friday. He said he wasn't going to fight the weather.
Right.
So if somebody needs some good ranching cows, we'll have his cattle there to sell Friday.
How are they bred?
They'll be breds and pairs. We're going to go through them tomorrow.
Okay.
But there's a bunch of good young cows in them. I mean, he just took the whole pasture and sold it.
Right. Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
would be some pretty good kind of cows.
Well,
So
tell everybody what time you start and how to get a hold of you at Cattleman's Brain.
yes, sir. We start there on Fridays at 12 noon. Y'all can call me on my cell, which is 979-877-4454. Call us at the office, which is 979-836-3621. And I'd also like to remind everybody, September the 6th, we're going to be having a special sale starting at 1 o'clock. We are still taking consignments. Let us know if we can help you.
All right. We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Larry. Y'all have a good week.
Neighbor, it's time to open up the row crop segment of Down on the Farm. We'll do that today by starting my old John Deere tractor while I ride it down to the mailbox to get the grains and cotton report from the mailman. Y'all listen to Texas News and Views with my friend Tom Nicoletti.
Dryland cotton showing signs of drought stress in the southern high plains. I'm Tom Nicoletti with Texas News and Views on the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network. More after this message.
Today, to show you something else about Pioneer's corn and soybean product development, I'm in Johnston, Iowa. I'm walking into a large, nondescript building, but what's inside is definitely worth describing. This is the insectary. That humming is from an environmental growth chamber. Behind this last set of doors are, you guessed it, insects. Lots of them. Okay, here we go. These insects, along with research data, help Pioneer breeders design corn and soybean products to better withstand insect pressure. This knowledge goes back decades and is constantly expanding for the future. The insectary, another place that makes Pioneer Pioneer. You'll hear more from me later. For now, let your local Pioneer sales representative hear from you.
We go to West Texas, and Eddie Griffiths is standing by reporting for us, and also in his cotton field out there. And Eddie, as we conclude the month of August, tell us about the conditions out there from a standpoint of rainfall and the heat.
Well, Tom, it's been hot and dry through the month of August, as it was pretty much through the month of July, and we've probably gone through about as many resources of irrigation as we can. And as far as the cotton, corn, and sorghum crop, they're utilizing every bit of that moisture, and still really not any rain in the forecast to speak of that will be beneficial to this crop at this time. So probably what we're going to start seeing, we're seeing cotton throw that white flag of surrender up, even on the irrigated side, saying that it's had enough and it's probably done for the year. And hopefully the yield potential will be there for that crop, but it could have been a lot better with some rainfall. I know grape producers are going to see what they've got out there. For grape producers, this has probably been a good year because hot and dry, that bodes well for grapes, and they're checking sugar content right now and going to start getting those off the vine.
How are the winds out there at this point?
The winds, Tom, have not been terrible. You know, generally, when you and I have a conversation, wind is going to be a part of that conversation. We're going to have our normal 10, 20, 30-mile-an-hour winds, but we've been able to keep it below that 40, 50-mile-an-hour mark, and that helps. I mean, when you have temperatures at 100-plus degrees and then turn on a furnace of 30, 40-mile-per-hour winds, the supplemental irrigation that we're putting on out there becomes pretty much null and void because evaporation takes that and the crop's not able to utilize that moisture.
At what stage are these crops, Eddie, in the growing stages?
Well, cotton, pretty much, you can look across the board, whether it was early planted, late planted, replanted, it's getting to the point of no return. It's going through cutout. It's done all that it's going to do. You're going to start seeing producers probably start applying harvest aids. I would suspect middle of September on some crops, especially the dryland crop. That crop has been done for a while, so they'll be going out there getting that crop ready to come out of the field. Sorghum, corn is all over the board. If it's replant, early planted, you're going to see a little bit of everything. Me personally, I have some late corn, and it's tasseling right now. You know, I was hoping that with it being later that we would see cooler temperatures, some moisture to help get that crop through. That's not happening, so we're pouring irrigation to it, and I hope it's enough that it'll it'll be able to make some pretty decent corn, but it's optimally that's not what we're looking for this time of year. That's the hand Mother Nature has dealt us, and we'll just deal with it.
That report coming to us today from Eddie Griffiths out in West Texas.
When we moved to Texas, we were like fish out of water. We didn't know anyone in our neighborhood until our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent came to the house. She was so helpful and reassuring, a friendly face with that Texan hospitality I'd heard about. When we purchased a Texas Farm Bureau insurance policy, we knew we were making the right choice. We knew our family would be protected.
Visit Texas Farm Bureau Insurance today at tfbinsurance.com to find an insurance agent who's a true neighbor. Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
You are listening to Texas News and Views. I'm Tom Nicoletti with the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network.
Taking a look at those commodities of ag interest, December corn, $3.53 1/4, down 1 1/4. November beans, $9.21 even money, up 3/4. December Kansas City hard red winter wheat, up 1 1/4 at $4.56 3/4. December number 2 cotton contract up 27 at 65.86. October live cattle down 42 at 108.35. October feeder cattle up 55 at 143.62. Lean hogs down 62 at 53.30. For September U.S. dollar index down 19 points at 93 even money. October West Texas intermediate crude up 1 at 43.36. There's your commodities of ag interest. Neighbor, let's take a look at the grains courtesy of John Tuggle. Call Tuggle & Company at 800-288-4453. Sorghum through Corpus in August. D's plus 175, 946. Houston, D's plus 200, 990. Progresso, 825. Number 2 or better yellow corn through Corpus in August. September plus 45, 380 3/4. We'll call Houston September plus 30, 370 3/4. We'll call Progresso 720 by the hundredweight. Hard red winter wheat through Corpus in August. September plus 80, 524 1/4. Houston September plus $1, 544 1/4. Number 1 beans through Houston August September delivery. November less 15, 905 1/4. We'll call Placido November less 60, 860 1/4. 4,001 bale of East Texas, 1,886 bale of West Texas. Prices range from $59.48 to $61.98. Neighbor, that's it for this edition of Down on the Farm. I've been your host. My name's Larry Marble. Come on down that Pecan Tree Line Lane tomorrow for another big old heaping helping of ag information. Hope to see you then.